Good evening, and welcome to Masterpiece Wingnut Theater. I am your host, Roger Floppyflop. On today's program, we have quite a treat for you. We have a rare occurrence where two notable wingnuts collide in such a beautiful display that it baffles the imagination. This truly is the cream of the crop. On the one hand, we have Alex Jones, renowned bullshit artist and propagandist, and then on the other, we have Roseanne Barr, recently cancelled comedian, whose comedic stylings are a little bit like this.
I can't believe it. I see all these gorgeous little tiny baby deer in my yard eating the grass around my pool. It's so fantastic, you know, because I can pull out my AR-15 and blow them just to smithereens.
Fantastic. Now the setting of our little drama is on InfoWars, Alex Jones' own show, where he invited Roseanne on to talk about, well, many things. Everything from dogs, Jews, cyborgs, and more. Now, if you're like me and you want to learn about the goodness inside of physics and how we have DNA wisdom and the problem with cloning, you too will be interested in this incredible display. So sit back, crack open a fine bottle of champagne, and enjoy this episode of Masterpiece Wingnut Theater.
You're a hero of mine, and you've been telling the truth for a long time, and when you're wrong, you admit it, and that's something very, very rare. You know, that is something really rare. I've seen you say, yeah, I'll admit it when I'm wrong. That makes you a human being, and a lot of these people that are on media, they never do that. Plus, they never say they're sorry for the people they've harmed when they are wrong. They aren't human. I think are they cyborgs or robots? I don't know.
For the context of this, you have to understand that Roseanne is a little bit miffed, you see? A little bit upset because she was cancelled for some rather egregious things that she said. In specific, she got in trouble for making a tweet referring to former Obama aide Valerie Jarrett as the offspring of the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes. And this ruffled her feathers so much she decided to dress like a southern plantation slave owner and come out and declare that anyone who feels this way is a cyborg. Terrific.
And anyway, I wanted to be here today. It's a powerful Jewish day. And I wanted to speak as a Jew because everybody's always talking about the Jews. And some Jews are saying they're Jews, but I can tell they're not. But I'm a Jewy Jew, and today is a very important Jewish day because it's the Shabbat before Purim, and Purim is the boomerang.
Well, if you're not ready to catch it, I suggest that you duck. But you see, this is what you get on Masterpiece Wingnut Theater. We like to educate. Apparently, if you are not a Jewy Jew...
I'm a Jewy Jew.
You cannot tell who is true Jew. The no true Jew fallacy, I suppose. Nothing uncomfortable about this at all.
I was also going to talk about mind control and how, and I want to say amen to that and end it, but I also want to talk about mind control that we have all been under in our country and we continue to be under, which I'm talking about in my act. Like, why are people just lining up to do... When I see how they're doing, like people with these German accents telling us to take these shots, and they're you know, using the Jewish people basically over there in Israel as the lab rats to do it on, and they're lining up to do it. I know that this is the end of time. It is overtly satanic, and it's like our task, if we have any intelligence or soul, to see it. But like you look at the amount of people walking around that aren't even seeing what's in front of their face, but they see like what they're interested in what the Queen of England's up to. That's because of mind control. Because what MK Ultra mind control does is prevent you from seeing what's right in front of your face.
Indeed. It's too true. If not for the mind control, none of us would care about the monarchs of our countries. Not at all. That just doesn't make any sense.
Can you speak to the Great Awakening? How do you think Team Humanity, Team Freedom versus Team Demons doing right now?
Well, I think they can't fight us because one thing they don't know nothing about is the human soul and the human spirit, so they don't even know how to fight it. All they can do is just blow up stuff and cause earthquakes with their earthquake and heart attack machines.
Fascinating. Whomst is they? And also, can I get a heart attack or earthquake machine in gun form? I'm very interested.
But they forget, like, the power structure, this big pyramid, it's all about pyramids. Well, this pyramid that they constructed, the money people, I'm talking about the people who own the world, they forgot that the big old base that holds them up, you know, has to be composed of living human beings. I guess they're going to replace it with cyborgs or robots or something. I don't know.
Yes. Cyborgs.
What, or maybe just clones of people who really don't have any ties to each other, who can't do anything but attack or work. I don't know. Is that what they're after?
Yes. Clones. Of course.
Well, when Moses was leading the children of Israel, according to Exodus, when he was taking them out, you know, God told him, don't take out this certain class of people that serve Pharaoh. They were the black magicians and lawyers and servants. They were the lawyer class, the judges and such. They were the servant class, as we call them, like, I guess, politicians like we have right now, and they were Jewish.
She would know. She's a Jewy Jew.
But I'm a Jewy Jew.
Jewy Jew.
Jewy Jew.
And that's what the globalists can't help. Everything they do hurts people. Everything they teach is bad. They know the knowledge. They know how to empower people. Why would you want to hurt people unless an alien force, Satan, wants to hurt us because we're made in the image of God? He's jealous of us.
Of course. There's never been a case of any human being wanting to just be bad to another human being. It's aliens. And Satan is an alien. Well, I knew that.
Bingo.
Bingo.
But I wrote this book called Roseanne, and you know, of course, nobody bought it, even though I went on Oprah and sucked her ass.
Excuse me, you did what to Oprah?
Sucked her ass.
Spicy. Well, I don't know about you, but I am highly entertained. I wonder if there's anything we could do to kick this interview up a notch.
Where's our effing booze?
I got exactly what you want right here.
Ah, yes. Good idea.
Because a lot of people here, well, they ain't even people, Alex. A lot of people here, they don't, what looks like people, they don't even have souls.
Now look, if there's anything I've understood as a student of history, especially in the wingnutty realms and dangerous rhetoric, is that there's never anything troubling that follows after you begin to dehumanize entire groups of people. Nothing bad happens ever at all. It's fine.
They're like apparitions that we create with what I believe, with our own evil thoughts and deeds. We create an apparition that comes at us. It's called a golem that we create that later turns on us because of the evil thoughts and deeds that we do. We created those people.
Now I'm a bit confused. Are the people that she believes have no soul, these opposition forces, are they created from your own bad thoughts? Do we need to think positively to defeat the golem?
And J.R.R. Tolkien describes that as Gollum.
Exactly.
They're telling you. That's our evil side that we've allowed to operate.
It's in us, too. That's what we don't ever look at.
Well, I'm sorry, Roseanne, but who you decide to put inside your body is really none of our business, and I would thank you very much to not put that image of Gollum and you in my head.
It's my birthday, and I want it.
So what I would say, I agree with you, is this third dimension is a jump point to decide heaven or hell.
That's right.
It's heaven and it's hell.
It is, and you know what? It says that they are not in equal measure, because a lot of these religious folk will say there's equal measure. I heard.
Well, that's Illuminati. Oh, the evil's part of the good and all that. Yeah.
But no, as physics teaches us, it's all tipped to the good.
As physics teaches us. Fascinating. Which physics would that be? Is that the 9th law of thermodynamics? Basically, everything should be good. It's just a little imbalanced right now. Probably because of Satan or something. Sure.
It's tipped to the good. That's what God...
Martin Luther King said that. He said, the universe bends towards justice.
It does. It does. Of course, it has to because it wants to keep living. Anything that wants to keep living is tipped to the good, like human beings.
What?
So why do people... What is the trick to get people to never be conscious and join evil without knowing it? That seems to be the devil's trick, because when you actually pull back, God gives us prosperity and freedom and happiness and family and all these good things. Everything evil gives us is destructive and is worthless. Why would you even join it?
People think they have free will, but they don't, really. You can only order what's on the menu, Alex.
Well, in that case, I'll have the Satan burger. Extra spicy with jalapenos and bacon.
That's almost like a Calvinistic view, like predestination.
Yeah, you can only get what's on the menu. When you think you can only get what's on the menu, I guess. But, I mean...
So why did God do that? Because people from particular families tend to go certain ways. People from evil families tend to go the other way. Sometimes there's different things, but...
Personally speaking, I go both ways.
It does seem like you have free will, but it's kind of pre-baked into the cake. There's free will, but it's kind of determined that. It's like, okay, you're free will, but you're going to do this.
No, you just get what's on the menu.
Thank you. Yes, yes, the menu. We understand. You can only get what's on the menu.
You can choose. Like it says that we have 10 realities that, our holy books say we have 10 realities that we could choose. Like you go into a multiplex theater and there's 10 movies playing. You can decide you can use your free will to decide which movie you're going to go see.
An interesting concept. As long as none of those movies have Chris Pratt, I think I'm pretty good. I am sick of Chris Pratt.
I think that we were put here to grow and to learn and to develop our skills, to be God-like, because he, of course, wants us to be infinite beings. I don't believe that he put us here just to die and shrivel up.
Quick question for you then. Then why do we die? And why do we shrivel up? Just curious. If you believe that God's intentions were for us to live forever, why don't we live forever?
I think he wants us to figure out how we can live forever. And I do believe science is on the verge of that now.
Ah, I see. God is one of those parents who is very stern and really wants you to achieve. Like a parent angry at your report card, especially in math. How are you so bad at math? It doesn't make any sense. Because you're not so good at math, you don't get to live forever, and instead you will die and shrivel up. Maybe you can do better, except now you're dead and now you can't. Sounds a little dysfunctional to me, but what do I know? I'm not an enlightened person like Roseanne.
But I do know that we have a 1% chance of winning, and I know that that's all we need. That's all we need. We have each other. That's all we need. And I was going to say how they always talk about love, love, love this, and a lot of people don't even know what love means, but a lot of people have hate. And in my book, I talked about the power of hate.
The power of hate. Go on.
And I always had a lot of hate. You was talking, you did too, Alex, but I had this one teacher, and he took me in his house, and he said he used to be a hateful person too. He was my rabbi, and he had this dog, and he didn't like his wife's dog, and we were eating steak, and he cut the heart out of the steak, and he called the dog over, he gave it to the dog. And
your steak had a heart. Okay, hang on. Why don't we take a step back? A younger Roseanne is staying over at her rabbi's house for dinner, and he hates his wife's dog. And then they're having steak, and then he cuts the heart out of the steak. Okay.
He said, every dog, he said, is the reincarnation of a bad rabbi.
Okay.
And he said, I know who that dog is. That dog used to be a rabbi that turned me in.
Turned him in for what? So your rabbi, who taught you many of these things, had a dog that he believed was the reincarnated soul of a snitch rabbi. Okay.
And when I give him the heart of the steak, it kills him because I'm so kind. And he said, we all have only one enemy, and none of it is each other. We only have one enemy, and that is the one below.
And also, fuck this dog. This dog in particular.
The evil one, the trickster, the snake, that guy, that's the only enemy we have. And if we would harness all that hate that we've used on each other, if we would take it away from each other and harness it on evil, we could destroy evil in the blink of an eye.
So this rabbi, as you're a little girl, as young Roseanne is a little girl, this rabbi invites her over to her house, explains that he hates the dog. This dog, bad dog. Not a fan. Why? Because this dog has the soul of a rabbi that turned me in. And I am killing him by being kind. But you see, the only real enemy we have is the devil, Satan. And if we just harnessed enough hate, we need to embrace our hate.
Let the hate flow through you.
It will make us strong.
It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
Then we could kill evil. And this is a rabbi that told this to you when you were a little girl. That explains a lot.
All that hate we have for the abusers who've put us in jail when we were innocent, who've harmed our children, who've tortured us, who've stolen from us, who've killed our family. All of that hate that we feel and are supposed to, drink ourselves to death or drug ourselves to death to deny that we have because we're so loving, which is all BS. If we would focus that on hating evil and what is done to the children of this world by those people who enslave and murder them every day by the thousands, and in vampiric satanic acts actually extract and drink their blood, as they all talk about right in front of our faces.
Is Roseanne making an adrenochrome conspiracy theory point? For those who are not aware, adrenochrome is a fantastic conspiracy theory that there is an evil cabal that likes to extract a miracle substance known as adrenochrome from abused and tortured children. It doesn't exist, but that doesn't stop Wingnuts from talking about it. Fantastic. Go on, Roseanne. Tell us how we need to embrace our hate.
But we don't hear it because we think it's a fantasy, but it's not a fantasy. If we would hate that evil with all the hate we have in us, it would go away and we could stop it. And that's what we're here to do, is to stop that.
With our hate.
And I want you all to just know that we have the power to stop everything horrible on this planet if we just hate it enough.
Cool.
globalists are openly creating as many problems as they can because they're scared of this jump point we're about to achieve, where we'll have free energy, unlimited power, unlimited life, even the third dimension. God's given us so much power that our soul is eternal, but now it's about to be eternal even in this third dimension. That's the reflection of that eternity is so powerful. It's about to create immortality here now.
Well, I'm seeing
that's the higher dimensions invading the lower dimensions.
War Across Dimensions, starring Alex Jones and Roseanne Barr.
I'm seeing in the fifth dimension, which my friend wrote a book, Mary Daly, called Quintessence, about the fifth dimension, where everything is telepathic and we're connected to the past, the present, and the future, which we are anyway. We're wired for that. All at the same time, but we don't really notice it, because we have all these walls in our mind due to mind control and mass media and all these other distractions. But we do have the power to go into the past and see the future and be in the now at the exact same time.
Indeed. The one thing they don't want you to know is that you are secretly telepathic. You can see the future. You can travel through time. They're just trying to keep you suppressed. But I do have to wonder whomst, really, wants to keep us from embracing this. And if we could, how would we go about making this a reality for everyone to embrace our superpowers?
And how we can trigger ourselves into the fifth dimension, which I think we are in the doorway of, is by just imagining, I love the word imagining what it looks like to live in a perfect neighborhood or perfect, let's start with family. What does it look like to live in a perfect neighborhood?
Well, I have some ideas on what you think about that, given your choice of outfit today, Roseanne, but, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Proceed.
What does it look like to live in a perfect community that works for all the people, where all the kids are safe? And I think about that all the time. So in Hawaii, it's a bunch of farms in common, and everybody grows the things that are needed for the community.
So you're talking about a commune in Hawaii, and they're making sure that all of the needs of the community are met collaboratively. Okay.
And it works really well. And I think it's a model. And I think everybody should start thinking about that now, because they are trying to manipulate our food. That's the next big thing, and our water. So everybody should be looking into how to get your community-based food and water.
Indeed. One might even call that mutual support within other members of your community, and be very community-minded. What an interesting, and I agree, fantastic idea, Roseanne. Shortly after this, Roseanne and Alex take a brief break to freshen up, and when they come back, I do believe the whiskey has started to kick in.
But anyway, they would all retell stories. I was only 3, and they were watching the Eichmann trial too on TV. And I came in, they were watching TV, and I saw on TV pictures of the Holocaust and they would tell stories. And I remember they'd point to me and they'd say, little girls like her, they hung them on a meat hook.
Excuse me? Your family told you this, as a little girl at 3 years old. Okay.
And I was so scared, and I thought we lived there. I went in my grandma's bathroom, and I was barely tall enough to lock the door. I was locking them out. And I was sitting there, and I was so afraid. I thought that was going to happen to us. And
now, this is definitely the low part of the interview, where Roseanne is talking about a very traumatic moment in her life, and I have quite a bit of empathy for this. However, one has to reflect between her family informing her that it is very possible at 3 years old that you will be hung from a meat hook, and a very strange rabbi who believes that a snitch rabbi is his dog, and that we need to embrace our hate in order to fight the things we hate to bring about goodness. one might start to see where Roseanne's demented worldview truly came into being, and perhaps the roots of her delusion run quite deep.
I saw something in the air right in front of me. It was a man on a horse, and he pointed to me, and he told me that I was going to live and that I was going to be okay. Okay. And he told me that he was always going to be with me.
It sounds like you found your spirit animal. A cowboy. That's pretty good. Mine happens to be an otter. I love otters.
And that someday I was going to have an answer for every question that was in my mind at that time. But in my life, I would get these feelings that, and I would go to a bookstore, and I would have a question in my mind. I'd find a book, I'd open it, and there would be the answer every time.
Incredible. Roseanne Barr discovered books, have information. And when you need information and you find a book about that topic, it gives you information. Incredible.
All over the world, I've done that. When I get this certain feeling, I'm guided to a book. I always find it.
Fascinating. So you are led by some divine inspiration to find the answers you need in books. Does that mean that your God is the Dewey Decimal System?
I'm worried about once this chain reaction goes complete, which is about halfway through right now, in my view. What do people, we don't want any violence. What do people, what happens when, which is happening in the next few months, when it tips totally towards us? What's the system going to do? What do we do once we know they killed us? They gave us poison shots. They attacked our children. They're child molesters. I mean, what do we do now?
Now I know obscure propagandist web shows are not included in the Oscars. However, I feel like we truly need to give some credit for Alex Jones' daring performance. That is the most genuine thing I've ever seen in my life.
I put a lot of thought into how we would rebuild so that we can save a lot of time, because we don't want a lot of our kids dying. And so I sort of did the work in 2012 of like reorganizing things around grandmas, because I figured out every grandma is pretty much responsible for about 100 people. And so, we will have to reorganize our communities around, every moral grandmother I'm talking about, not some grandmas ain't good,
Ah, I see. We need to make sure it's the good grandmas. The good grandmas can lead us, not those bad grandmas, whatever that means.
But grandparent is what I'm talking about, elders. And we will have to organize our community first to take care of the children, make sure they're safe, that they're educated and fed. And that's like our priority, right, for this new world.
Because the enemy's plans to cut off the infrastructure. We got to get ready now.
Yeah, we have to have roads.
Indeed, and there is nobody better at infrastructure and road maintenance planning than grandparents. All of them. I mean, all the good ones, at least. Maybe that's the metric by which Roseanne measures a grandparent's worth. Do you know anything about road repair? No? Back of the line. You do? Fantastic. Move to the front. Sure. Why not?
We have to have muscle, and we have a lot of teenage kids, a lot of boys. We have to have them as our muscle, and they have to protect us.
Ah, yes. Conscript the child soldiers. Fantastic idea. Very, very effective. We see it all around the world, and nothing bad ever happens when you have child soldiers.
But that's the only thing that's ever saved us is masculinity. Are they kidding me? It really pisses me off that they're doing this to our boys. I have 2 sons, and, it was hard to raise sons because, to see these women that they got a choice of is pretty bad. My one son that's here with me, he had, some trouble with the women.
Thanks, Mom. So glad I drove you to Alex Jones. I'm glad you came on and told people that I have trouble with women. I wonder if we're going to learn any further details about her interaction with her children.
They don't want nobody to live over their own sacred burial grounds and to be in touch with the past.
They don't want ancestors, that whole, because that's what about genetic memory? What about epigenetics exactly, where it's not just instincts, we have the memories of our forebears, because they live on through us.
Well, that's not how epigenetics works at all. But go off.
We have it in our blood and our DNA, and that's what all their cloning and shit like that, their DNA studies is to alter. You know, the Nazis.
That's why all the clones are retarded, because they don't have the spirit.
Oh, what a fascinating choice of words. But Alex Jones, don't you have some degree of expertise in that area?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Are you a clone? Anyway, as this interview is wrapping up, Alex decides to ask Roseanne how more people can find her, now that she's been canceled.
Well, I'm over there on YouTube someplace. I'm on Twitter on these fake accounts. One of them's called Rosie Posey.
All right. Because Elon hasn't reinstated you yet, because you talked about George
Well, because my kids are the ones that took it away, and they won't give me my password.
Really?
Yeah. 3 of my kids are real liberals, and they won't give me my password.
Wow, they were going to protect you.
They think so, but it's like, come on, y'all.
Now, this has been a fascinating interview. Roseanne Barr, once a darling of television. Her TV show was wildly popular. One might argue more for the sake of John Goodman than her. She was pretty terrible. But now even more so well known for her unhinged rants that got her canceled. And more recently, her stand-up comedy special with such fantastic stylings as...
My pronouns are kiss my...
And the best thing she could possibly do for her career? Go on the Alex Jones Show and talk about all sorts of things, like cloning and cyborgs, and how we need to embrace our hate. And while this might not be the best thing that could happen to this unfortunately confused older woman, it nonetheless does give us a fascinating insight into the world of the conspiracy theorist, and to how much Alex Jones is willing to prey on somebody who is in a very vulnerable situation. That is going to be it for this episode of Masterpiece Wingnut Theater. I'm Roger Floppyflop, and from my family and everyone in the studio's families to yours, we hope you are well, and you will take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.